Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy, and I'm inviting you to join me each and every Wednesday so you can be prepared to win the battle for business. And hey, as always, thanks so much for sharing some of your time with me today. And if you're going to share some of your time, I got to make it worth your while. So that's why I have the kind of guests on that you can listen, learn, and earn from. Today's guest will not be an exception. Now, here's the funny thing about today's show. Where's the show going? I'm not exactly sure yet, but I know we're starting off with a lot of great ideas and strategies that you can take to help you win the battle for business. Now you're thinking, where the heck is Tim going with this? Well, this is what happened. So my previous guest, I won't mention names, had several challenges with technology. And halfway through going through each of the attempted interviews, the technology blew up. So I was without a guest, but here I am in the studio. My engineer is ready to go, and we got to produce some shows. But I don't have a show because I don't have a guest. Well, what do you have to do to win the battle for business? What's one important tool? You got to pivot. You got to be creative. You got to think outside of the box, right? So this is what happened. So here I am at Drake Media Studios where I record the show, The Profit Express, as you guys know. And I run into, and I'm really introduced, although I've seen her a few times, I'm formally introduced to one of our associate producers, Lauraine Laino. I run into her in the hallway. And I'm sitting down with my back against the wall, utterly frustrated because my second show that should have been recorded, the technology, as I said, dumped out twice. So now I don't have a show. And time is money. So as I look at Lauraine and she's kind of looking at me with kind of sympathetic eyes, she's like, oh, I feel bad for this guy. I said, hey, Lauraine, what's your story? You got to have a great story. I need a guest for the Profit Express. And she smiles and she nods and she thinks I'm kidding. And I was kind of half kidding. And I saw that she had a Syracuse sweatshirt on. And I said, did you go to Syracuse? And she's like, no, actually, I went to SVA, the School for Visual Arts in New York City. I said, well, what did you do there? I studied film. And I said, you know what? I think I got an interesting guest. And she's standing 5 feet away from me. So what do you do to win the battle for business? You got to be creative. You got to be curious. I run into Lauraine and I start asking her questions. And I say, you know what? She has a great story. Because here's another very important fact point for all of us to take away. We all have an interesting story. And we should all be interested to find out when we cross people's paths, whether it's at a Starbucks, whether it's on the subway, whether it's at Drake Media Studios. Who is this person I've never met before? What could I learn from them? Let me just find out who they are and their story. So here we are. So it's a pleasure to welcome aboard a very impromptu guest, a great sport of a guest, one of our associate producers here, Lauraine Laino.
Hi, Tim. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm ready to talk. Whatever you want to talk about, let's go.
Well, listen, you know, it's the Profit Express. It's winning the battle for business. And listen, I'm really serious because, you know, in business, things blow up. You know, we have plans and plans. I think it's Mike Tyson who says everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Exactly.
Well, as you know, as you were witness, I got punched in the mouth twice today.
Yeah.
And you're a great sport, by the way.
Oh, come on.
And this may go down as one of my best interviews or one of my worst. We don't know yet. I'm feeling, though, that this could be a classic, and you may just come back.
I mean, who knows what could happen in the future? I am a great person.
You are. I've learned that.
I'm such a great person. Yeah. So
that's what I hear about you.
I'm excited to talk.
So, all right. So I see the Syracuse sweatshirt, so I think automatically you went to Syracuse. Yeah. You didn't go to Syracuse.
I didn't.
How'd you get the sweatshirt?
So I did a college tour there.
Sure.
And we went to all the merch. Like we went to the merch store.
Right.
And I saw it and I was like, wow, what a great way to waste $50.
Of your parents' hard-earned money.
Of my parents' hard, of course. I'm not paying for that.
Right. So, all right. So you didn't end up at Syracuse.
I did not.
You ended up at SVA.
Yes, the School of Visual Arts.
Okay. And you're a recent graduate?
Yes, May of 2021.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. So so tell us a little bit about that. So the major's film.
Yes.
What'd you study? What was your experience there like?
Yes. So I started there and immediately they hit you with, okay, write a script. Like without even any preliminary classes, you're hands-on first day in.
Really?
So they bring out a camera, you're working on it in teams. and they're like, okay, let's shoot interviews. So without even any like creative direction from teachers, they're like, okay, do this. Let's see how it looks.
So literally, your first day of classes, you're starting out SVA, you're a film major. They say, here's a camera, write a script, and go.
Yes. It's crazy because, and that's one of the reasons why I went there, because a lot of film schools that I was researching,
Right.
they don't let you touch a camera until your second year there. And for me, that is not the way that I learn. I think any way to get good at what you want to do
Right.
is hands-on practice, especially if it's technical.
Sure.
Yeah, and working with actors, you only get that experience
Right.
actually doing it.
Right.
And that's what I really appreciated about SVA going into it.
So you knew that when you were on the college tour.
Yes.
You tried out Syracuse, didn't work. SVA, one of the reasons you went there is they have more of an immersive kind of throw you in the deep end of the pool.
Yes, exactly. They throw you in, you take production classes
Right.
as well as like film studies,
Right.
as well as specific like writing classes.
Right.
So that will teach you how to like formally write a script. So all of your classes will lead to the film that you make at the end of the semester. So
Okay.
freshman year, making a film by the end of the first semester.
So semesters are what, a couple of months usually?
4 months, so from September to December.
Okay. All right. Not a long period of time.
Not a long period of time.
Wow. So from day one into having finished product, having a film.
Yeah, finished fully edited by ourselves. Like we fully edited it.
Okay. So they're giving you the tools, but you got to figure it out.
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So I was right. Everybody's got a great story. Now, see, the Profit Express, I'm a businessman. I'm a sales performance coach. I don't know the world of film. I don't know the world of Hollywood. So, all right, now let's go a little bit further back in your story. So you go to SVA, you want to study film. Why film?
Wow. Okay. So my family is huge in entertainment.
Really?
Yes. My uncle runs a parade, float, and stage rental company. So they work in production a lot. They do a
Ooh.
lot of parades. They do the Pride Parade, the Colombian Day Parade, the Puerto Rican Day Parade, like everything. And my dad has always been in love with films. So when I was like 6 years old, I remember like my first horror film being the original Exorcist.
When you were 6?
When I was 6, it was crazy. Like, and that kind of like spurred my love for horror, as I love all the classic slashers. But it really got me into, that film world and just the magic behind it. I, ended up watching The Shining, and like Kubrick is amazing. Like his direction is amazing in that. And it's a cult classic. So watching it, you see all of these layers within the film, and it's only when you dissect it, you're like, oh my God, I got to get into this. It's like, it becomes like an addiction. You're like, okay, what does this have to do with this? What does this scene have to do with this scene? And then it's like a puzzle that you piece together. And my favorite thing about films is when they leave you leave the theater and you're still thinking about it. You're like, but wait, oh, this connects to this. Oh, like.
So you're still thinking after the fact.
Exactly. It just like leaves it. You leave the theater, but the theater doesn't leave you.
Oh, I like that. That's a good soundbite right there. Very nice. So, all right. So your uncle has a production company. He does floats for parades.
Yes.
So you kind of been around. You've been around that that world. Your dad is a film buff. At the age of 6, you see The Exorcist.
Yep.
Okay, wow, that's hardcore right there. Now you said The Shining. How old were you when you watched that?
Oh my gosh, probably like 10, something like
Okay,
that.
so that's
bit
still
later.
young.
A little bit later, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
A little bit later, but you're still a kid. Wow, God. So now this is where I'm getting the interesting education here. I guess I'm just a normal spectator of movies, right?
Yeah.
And what you were just saying, which kind of intrigued me, and the reason you're sitting here is in business you have to pivot. In business you have to be curious. Who's gonna be my next great client? You don't know unless you ask questions. You don't know unless you have conversations. And unfortunately for you, I grabbed you in the hallway. I started to ask questions. You were sympathetic to bail me out. I needed a show today.
I love giving to charity.
Hey, listen, I'm not proud. I'll take it. I needed it today. No, but really, I do mean this genuinely. Everybody has an interesting story, but in life, where we get away from being curious enough to find out other people's stories. So then, you see how this comes full circle. So now you're in the film world. So now you, as a fan, as a kid, you're watching these films. You're getting curious about these films. You know the plot, how what happened, and you're thinking after the fact. So you're a fan of film. You have, production in your family, Hollywood in your family, if you will. When do you decide that film is, I'm not just a fan, I want to pursue it as a career?
So I took a like editing slash production class in high school,
Okay.
and that was like my first kind of experience actually holding a camera and directing, working with, not working with actors, but working with people
Mm-hmm.
and taking a vision that I had and making it something tangible. And that's kind of where I was like, whoa, I want to do this forever or as long as I can.
Okay, so high school, you have
Yeah.
your high school has what kind of class was it? It was a
It was
film.
it was like a video slash photo editing
Okay.
class.
So if let me give this a shot.
Yeah.
You get the camera in your hand, and it sounds like shortly thereafter you were hooked.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I can even see it right now. Seriously, your physiology changes.
Yeah.
Your eyes, you smile, all of that. Okay, so you're in school, you have a great exposure to a class, you go through that, and then we're heading off to college. We're not quite back to college yet. You mentioned The Exorcist, you mentioned The Shining, hardcore movies. Your favorite genre, what is it? Is it the horror that you like?
Something that I could watch all the time is horror, but I really like psychological thrillers as well, which is kind of a cousin of horror genres.
Yeah.
Something with smart writing that keeps you guessing, honestly. Complex stories I really am attracted to.
Okay, so you're in film, you're an SVA. Now, obviously, I had to kind of do a pre-interview. I said, tell me your story so we could put a show together, right? We're pivoting. It's the Profit Express. We got to win the battle for business. So you're an SVA and you had to do a thesis film as part of the curriculum, your work, okay? So again, I'm the outsider here. And you were telling me about this film, before our show today. And there's a lot of very interesting aspects to this film. Let's start with, you had to do some funding. What was that like?
So that was something that I had never really navigated before. And
raising money
for a film, because this was the biggest budget that I've, needed
Okay.
to work with
Okay.
thus far. And it started with, me basically doing everything.
Right,
I wrote, direct, and I had planned to, edit.
Right.
So from the get-go, I'm the top person. I'm reliable for my success.
You're it.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
it. And it started with me going on the donation website and making a whole bio about me and, doing some soul searching about, interviewing myself, basically saying
Right.
where am I coming from? Where do I want to be? And why do I want to make this film?
So you're identifying your story to help sell it, to raise,
Exactly.
right? To raise
Yes,
money.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, I found what attracts me to people is their stories. And and just hearing where they've come from and
Right.
hearing where they want to go. It really pulls at the heartstrings a little bit for me.
Sure.
And
There's a lot of emotion with stories. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm a pretty emotional person.
Right.
So that's what really I gravitate towards. And I'm also pretty comedic, if you haven't noticed.
I can sense it. Yeah.
So even though I wanted to kind of express my story, I wanted to keep it true to myself and be a little comedic about it as well.
Sure.
So some of them would be like, why should I give you money? Like a question would be like, why should I give you money? I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you asked. But I asked the question.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked, and then go into it. So it's those little subtle comedic moments that really put your personality into it.
Right.
And they're not, they're paying, the people that want to donate they want to see the film, but they also want you to succeed.
Right.
They want to see the person that, is making the film succeed. So that's why they donate.
They're getting behind you.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny. So again, the Profit Express, a lot of the people who listen, the followers, the fans, the audience, they're business owners, they're startups, they're sales professionals, right? And they're out there selling, a lot of them, in one way, shape, or form. And, when you're out you're selling a product, a service, you're selling yourself, okay, clearly in your case, a lot of rejection. And we know, and I don't know the world of Hollywood, but once you get into films, you're entering into the entertainment business. And that is, from what I've understood, from what I've read and heard, et cetera, brutal.
Yes.
You're
very.
aware of this, obviously.
Yes. You send a script in anywhere. They get a page in. They're like, on board. Then they send it back and you're done. Yeah. So it really is about capturing like the essence of what you want to write about and capturing their attention right away.
Super fast.
Because they get so many scripts in.
Right.
They get so many stories. People are like, oh my God, I'm amazing. Like, no, I'm amazing. So they're allowed to be picky. And when you're allowed to be picky,
stacks.
You're allowed, like when you're spoiled, you're allowed to be like, I don't want that Maserati.
Right,
you
right.
know?
Yeah.
So,
I have options.
Exactly.
I don't need you, right?
Yeah. It could be anything. I don't like the name of your character.
So, but those are great lessons. And again, it relates back to winning the battle for business. You know your audience, okay, the people who are critiquing your film, reading the script, if you will. You know how they're going to make their decisions, how quick it's got to be, how brutal it can be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I didn't want you to think I forgot about the topic of your film. So you went to, what was it, Indiegogo?
Yeah, Indiegogo.
Okay, so you raised some funds there. Okay, good. Interesting. Was that your first experience raising money?
Yes.
Okay. How'd it go?
I went well. We raised $1,500.
That's not bad.
Production, not bad for never doing it before.
Not bad at all.
For a film that was during a pandemic, so like essentially, people needed to hold on to their money.
Right.
Even though it was like required by my school, I was very fortunate to have the donations that I got.
Oh yeah. So you did a good job telling the story.
Yeah, I did.
First of all, identifying the story, crafting it, and selling it. And this is the Profit Express today, and we're pivoting because you know what? The previous guest, technology didn't work. We lost the interview twice. Oh, well, it happens. But you know what? That's going to happen in business. Our plans, we have these plans get blown up. And so here I was sitting in the hallway of Drake Media Studios feeling sorry for myself because now I didn't have a second show. I'm sitting in the studio. My engineer is waiting. We're losing money and time. And then all of a sudden, Lauraine Laino, she sees me. She says hello. She sees I'm down in the dumps. And we start talking. And I find her story. And I said, holy cow, I think I got an interview. Thanks for being on board. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I'm not done. I'm not done. No. Oh, no.
I'm ready to talk.
I'm resetting. We're good.
Let's do it.
So you're an SVA. You create this film, Indiegogo. You raise $1,500. Not too shabby for your first go round. Tell us about the film.
All right. So essentially, I don't want to get into it too descriptive. You can go watch it if you want.
We can watch it.
You
sure.
can watch it. But essentially, it has to do with my main character who makes a suggestive online purchase of an adult subject matter.
Let me make sure I understand this. An online purchase of a suggestive adult matter.
Yes.
Okay, I think we're filling in the blanks.
Yes.
Okay.
And her father uncovers a different purchase that was, I guess, another subject matter, but a different kind of suggestive. And he declares that he will be checking everyone's mail. So she has to find a way to not let her dad see that purchase.
Oh, so the father opens up one of the Amazon packages. He gets mad. He's like, all right, that's it. I'm taking over. I'm going to check everything that comes into the house.
Everything comes into the house.
And the main character knows that the suggestive adult material is coming.
Yes.
Okay, and so she's got to pivot.
Yes.
Wow. What's the name of the character?
Her name is Tia.
Tia, okay. Now, is it online for people to see?
It is.
It is.
Yes.
So, all right. Now it's called is a feature film?
It is a short film.
A short film.
Yes.
All right. I'm uneducated. I don't know the world. What is a short film?
So a short film is a film that is under like an hour length.
Okay.
So that could be anywhere from 5 minutes to 40 minutes. Like those are still technically short films. When you get into what you were saying before, feature films, those are what you'll see in the movies. So like an hour and a half to 2 hours
Yeah,
to
yeah.
even like a
Right.
Star Wars to 2 hours and 45
or
minutes.
beyond. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, you this was your thesis film.
Yes.
You graduated, so I assume you had to do. You passed. It was great.
I did.
Okay.
It was
awesome.
great.
It-
I'm amazing.
if you do say so yourself. Right. Awesome. So, all right. And then let me ask you. So this is, obviously if it's your thesis film, it's a big deal. It's your final project, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the family see it?
My mother saw it.
Oh,
I've
that
yet
was
to
a
show my
long, that was
father.
an uncomfortably long pause.
I'm
Lauraine.
not gonna say it was based on a true story, but
Oh, no.
that I have yet to show my father.
The show is the Prophet Express. I'm curious, always be curious. Why? So you showed it to mom.
I showed it to mom.
What did mom say?
She loved it.
She loved it. Okay.
Laughing out loud. She had to act in it. She didn't have to, but she graciously.
She had a part in it?
She did have a small part.
Really?
Yes, she played our nosy neighbor.
So mom stars in it. She had a part in it,
Yes.
and she loved it. Your dad knows about the project?
Oh yeah, he won't leave me alone about it. He's like, when are you gonna let me see it? I'm like,
Does he know the topic?
no.
Okay. Is he a fan of the Prophet Express?
Of course.
I
What do you mean? He listens to it on the way to the gym.
love it. That's the best time to listen because it
Of
gets you
course.
pumped up,
Exactly.
and you'll have the best workout of your life.
It's better than a protein shake, I swear.
100%
Yeah.
better. Awesome. I like where you're going. So, Dad has not seen it yet. He'll know about it now. So, but it's not. Is it loosely based on a true story?
Sure. If you want to say that.
I don't know if we're getting to the bottom of this. I think we might be skirting around, but it's okay. It's okay. So Dad is yet to see it. Well, all right, will you eventually show it to Dad?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I mean, because he's got to be proud of you. You
Yeah.
went, you graduated, you're pursuing your dream. Dad got you into films. He showed you The Exorcist when you were 6.
He did. Isn't it kind
Right.
of messed up that I haven't shown him my last film yet?
You got to show it
I
to
know.
him.
I got to show
You
it
gotta
to him.
Pull the Band-Aid off.
Yeah,
You're going to
yeah.
have to show it to him.
I think I will.
All right. So you go to the. I'm just referring to my notes because
Sure,
I
go
just
ahead.
met you in the hallway a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we're
And
strangers.
this is going splendidly well. So you go to SVA, you want to write and direct. What is it in the world of somebody who wants to create films? Take us through that process. I mean, writing seems to be a certain skill set, and then there's a visual aspect of it. Again, talking to a complete novice.
Yeah.
Take me through it.
Yeah. So the writing process for me, I really like. Well, directing, I like working with actors a lot. I like
Mhm.
working with people. So when I'm writing, I'm thinking about the characters.
Mhm.
So I usually start with characters and characteristics, and then I say, what situation can I put them in? And usually it can go, a million and one different ways.
Right.
But once I have that characteristic down, that character, it's like a million possibilities. It's never like hindering me. It's always like, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And
Wait, so you start with the character first,
I start with my character first,
not a story.
not a story.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And once I find my story, I say, how can this, this character will fit in this story? How will it end? That's the hard part, is ending your story, because it's like your baby. You never want it to end.
No, but when do you think of the ending though in this process?
It's, when you're sometimes it'll happen when you're coming up with the name of the story. Sometimes it'll happen when you're writing a weird in between scene.
Right.
You can never picture when it's going to happen. It's one of like that's how I work, honestly. When I have a scene that I want to write, I write it, and I find when I have an idea and I write it down, that will lead me to other ideas and other ways to thread that needle
Right.
as like how I'm attracted to stories, So like I was saying with watching The Shining, it was like, how does this scene wrap with this scene wrap with this scene? So that's kind of how I do my process.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
But yes, once I eventually come up with the ending, and I work it out, and you have to get it funded before you can start directing. So we work on that. I do like produce it and everything. So I'm doing all of like the legal stuff as well. So handling contracts, if we have to shoot on a specific location, you have to get contracts and shooting permits.
You're getting into the business end of it now.
Definitely business end of it. So dealing with those types of people, sometimes they're really nice, sometimes they're not.
They're not right.
And luckily, my family has been super supportive of me, so I've been able to, use some locations that, were owned by some of my family members.
Sure.
But any other locations, especially if you're shooting in the city, it's like you got to pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
Give me that cash.
I don't think
Like,
there's
that's what they
freebies.
want. Nope, yeah.
So, all right. So you have this film, Mom Seen, Dad Is Not, of a rather unique, suggestive content subject matter. We'll say that. And so I know you because of your role as an associate producer at Drake Media Studios.
Yes.
And thankfully you were here today. And this film has legs to it. So you are coming to Drake Media Studios looking for a job, okay? And how does this film play into the interview process?
Yeah, so during my interview, this has never happened to me before in any interview. I've interned at NBC, and this didn't happen.
Really?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
interned for the Oxygen Network at NBC.
Okay.
But that has it still never happened. Donna's talking to me, and she's like, "Hey, you make films?" I'm like, yeah, I have about 4 or 5 films right now. And she goes, "Let's watch your most recent one." And I was like, what? She was like, "Let's watch it." And I was like, I'm pretty modest with my work. I'm not like ironically, I'm not like go watch it now, like I'm the best, I'm amazing. I'm always like, I can do better. I'm always trying to like work on myself, which I think is, everybody does that.
Yeah.
But she was really adamant about watching it. And so I was like, "Oh, it's about 17 and a half minutes long. Are you sure you want, like, it's fine?" She's like, "That's fine. Let's watch it." Turns the lights off, grabs a chair, pulls it up. She watches the whole thing. And I'm sitting there just like this as the suggestive content is on screen. I'm sitting there with my hand in my face, just like, oh my God, when will this moment end? I know it's going either one of 2 ways. She loves it, or I am kicked out of this building.
Okay, now hold on. So this is Grace. So it's the Profit Express today's guest, Lauraine Laino. She is the associate producer here at Drake Media Studios. And we're talking about pivoting, being curious, finding opportunity when your plan blows up. And that's why Lauraine has been gracious enough to come in, sit in studio with me today. And like I said, this could be either one of my best interviews or one of my worst. It's heading in the best category. I'm loving this conversation so far. So then when you go for the interview with Donna Drake of Drake Media Studios, obviously, she's like, "Oh, you do films?" You're like, "Yeah, I've got 4 or 5. I want to see your most current one." So now, all right, now take us to this moment. So she sits down. Does she watch it from start to finish?
Watches it from start to finish.
Start to finish. Now, okay, during said viewing of film, is she saying anything? What's her reactions?
She's laughing, which was a good
which
sign.
is good.
Which is good. It wasn't just her. I had...
Oh, there's other people.
Yeah. The other executive producer, Lou Vaccarelli, was there too. And he is a tough buy.
Yes,
I will say, he is a very tough buy.
Was Lou smiling and laughing?
I don't remember. I think I blacked out.
You might have passed out.
I like to think that he was smiling.
Okay, well,
because I'm
Donna's
charming.
smiling
Yes,
and laughing.
Donna's
Okay.
smiling and laughing,
Okay.
clapping. I love it. And there was like a comedic slow-mo scene that she was dying there during the entire thing. She was
Really?
laughing. She was like, "Oh my God, I love this." And it like going through it, in the beginning, I was like, "Okay, we got to wait until this specific scene." Okay.
You were waiting for, right?
I was waiting for this specific scene because that was my make or break.
Right.
And she watched it, and I was very lucky to have like her be very supportive and her like laughing and loving it and saying, "I love what you did, this, and this." Like she's all about it. So
Well, listen, Donna can spot talent.
yeah.
I'm not just trying to say that. She's industry veteran there.
Yeah.
She knows talent when she sees it.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of my strengths is that I'm not afraid to go for it. If I'm
Wow.
gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, but come on, be honest. You were squirming in that seat.
Oh
Well,
no, I was.
You were terrified.
I absolutely
yes,
was,
yeah.
but I still have it on film.
Okay.
Like the movie is made.
All right. Okay.
I did it.
All right. So, interesting story that starts at 6 with the viewing of The Exorcist. You're not emotionally scarred, or at least not too much. You begin to develop a real passion for films, movie, high school kind of really accelerates that. You end up at SVA, which is great. Here you are at Drake Media Studios. So great story so far. And I admire somebody who's an entrepreneur, business owner myself. I don't face my client salespeople. A lot of sales professionals don't face the level of rejection that people in the entertainment business face. And quite frankly, I don't think a lot of them could handle it. I got to be honest. I really, really don't.
Yeah.
I admire the heck out of that.
It's a tough business.
It really is. So, all right. So here you are. What is? Oh man, there's so many questions I'm thinking of asking right now. So, what is the next project? The next film? Is there something that's brewing?
There is.
What can you tell us of it?
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away
Okay.
because it might be amazing. Just kidding.
No, you're not kidding.
Of course not.
No,
Never.
right.
Since I like pretty dramatic films and pretty, I guess, adult subject matter, I'd say, and I guess layers in films. Like I don't specific theme I can give you is current topics that are circulating now. That's about all I can.
Oh,
give
come
you.
on. That's so broad.
I know.
That's so broad.
Don't you hate me?
I don't hate you, but so it's a theme, it's layered.
It's a current topic, but
COVID.
no, but not in a way that you would imagine it playing out.
Oh, come on.
Not
now.
in a different perspective, I would like to say.
Is it a global topic, a national topic?
I'd say it's global. It's pretty global.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I think a lot of people will understand this topic and can give their input.
Okay.
So can I get a little bit?
Go ahead.
So
Go
my
ahead.
goal with this is not to satisfy my audience. My goal is to keep them thinking and make them kind of question their rationale and their thought process.
All right. So for the uneducated on the topic, so you want to leave the audience thinking and having them question how they perceive your movie? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of films that kind of give that happy ending,
Mm.
and
You don't want to do that.
that's not reality.
Mm. Okay, we have a bit of a you're building up some anticipation here. All right, so the process, writing, the actual filming, what do you like best?
Filming,
Filming.
directing. I love working with actors. I love talking to them. I love the whole process of doing a take, going in, talking to them and saying, okay, how about we do it this way? And then just like seeing like them embody the character that has come from my brain.
Right, right.
And as I was saying, having something that I visualized be actually tangible.
Now, all right. Now you bring up a very interesting point. Again, me not knowing anything is business, but you've created it. It's your baby. You're out there now. You have actors who are, bringing it to life.
Yeah.
And it's art, so they're going to have some of their own interpretations. Does your ego get in the way sometimes?
I think if a director claims that they have no ego,
they're full of it.
They're full of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think every director has an ego, some bigger than others.
Right.
I will take critiques from my actors, as especially like if they've worked in a lot of films before. And it's about me trusting their critique, a lot of it.
That makes, again, the relationship, sure.
Yeah, the relationship, and depending on the subject matter is when I will kind of, if they like personally relate to the subject matter, then I will kind of take it more I will take their advice more than somebody that's kind of like throwing like an idea in, I will take everything with a grain of salt.
Okay. No, that's subjective.
Yeah.
The ego's still going to be there.
Yeah,
I mean,
of
you're
course.
human. Okay, this is a total.
But again, it's my vision.
No, I get it. So here we go. So going full circle as to why you're sitting here today, I was about to leave the studio. It was not having a show. We run into each other. You have empathy and sympathy with my plight. I start asking about your story, finding out who you are, which I knew of you, but we never really had a conversation. And you see, it's like basic strangers, right? Like acquaintances, maybe, barely, right? And so here we are in 5 minutes. Now, this is something that's so pivotal for the listeners, for the business owner out there. Being curious as to any human being you come across, you don't know who they are and how you can help them, how they can help you, what kind of a relationship could form. I'm not just saying this. I'm not just saying this has been a blast for me. I could easily keep going.
As can I.
Yeah, this is really, really interesting. Oh man, all right. So let me ask this then. I have to. Favorite film of all time? Only one. Don't give me. That's a hard question to ask.
Like
come on.
Pulling teeth.
I've never heard of that film.
What I think is a perfect classic film, I think Citizen Kane has
really
been, notoriously known as like the best film ever made. You ask my dad, it's the Godfather trilogy, but I disagree.
Not 2 and 3.
No.
All due respect to your dad.
No, the whole thing, he loves it. He's an Italian. He
3
loves it.
3, come on.
Yeah.
What's your dad's first name?
Pasquale.
Pasquale, I'm sorry, my friend. 3 was painful.
Yes.
Painful.
I agree. He made me sit through all of them.
2 was pretty good. 1 was a classic.
Yes, one is a classic. It is his favorite. He claims it as the best film ever made.
Okay, no, but you're not answering the question. You said, it's like you kind of give me the SVA answer. People say Citizen Kane. I want Lorraine's answer.
Okay, so my favorite film at the moment that I can pinpoint directly, I can watch it any day, anytime. It is called Midsummer. It is.
Never heard of it.
It's an A24 film. It's directed by Ari Aster, who is one of my favorite directors, if not my favorite director.
Really?
Yes, and he does kind of the same thing that Kubrick does, where he intertwines like little foreshadowing moments in the story that connect later.
Okay.
So just to give you a little briefing, the first shot of the film is like essentially like a painting of all of the events that happen throughout the film. But first-time viewers don't know what they're looking at. It's only until you watch it the second and third time you're like, oh, this happens. Oh, this happens. Yes.
Is it that good where it draws you back to want to watch it 2 and 3 times?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Midsummer.
Midsummer. Midsommer.
So Ari, what was
Ari Aster.
Ari Aster. Okay. All right. Awesome. Listen, so filmmakers get Oscars?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're at that stage.
Yeah, when I get one.
Right. Is this one of your first interviews?
Yeah.
So I'm
Professionally, yeah.
thank you.
Professional interviews.
Professional.
Honestly, you're welcome. Just kidding. Thank you for having me. I'm like,
No, this is, because then you won't take my call anymore when you're at that level. Tim, I'm sorry. But listen, your story was, it was funny. It was interesting. It was compelling. You having the courage and being fun enough to say, yeah, come on, we'll go for an interview. We'll have some fun. These are life lessons. And, I'm learning because, you don't know me that well. Talk to my wife. I'm a very buttoned up A-type kind of guy. So
no.
yes,
No.
right? Yeah, I know. That's a shocker, right? But when my plans go right like that, I'm like, oh, I shut down, right? I'm like, let me roll the dice. And I'm so glad I rolled the dice with you because it was great.
Thank you.
You were awesome. Promise to come back.
I promise.
Awesome. And this is the Profit Express. What can I say? We had Lauraine Laino. She is the associate producer here at Drake Media Studios. And we rolled the dice and had a phenomenal interview. I learned about the film business and really how much that they can teach you and I. That's right. The business owners and the sales professionals out there in what I think is one of the toughest industries, entertainment, where a lot of us couldn't keep up with it. So there's a ton to be learned by the folks who are brave enough to follow their passion of becoming an actor, getting into being a writer, director, a producer of films. A lot of respect for them. So listen, tune in each and every Wednesday to awesome shows like my show that I just had here with Lauraine Laino. It's going to download on Wednesday. Make sure you are there for it. You can follow me in the show on The Profit Express on Instagram, on YouTube. Facebook is at Profit_Express, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. How can they follow you real quick? Do you have any, what's your tags? How are they?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram at Lauraine Laino, LaurieLaino.
Okay, awesome. And until next Wednesday, continue to win the battle for business.